Welcome to Tell Me a Story. I'm Mylinda Butterworth, the festival director of the brand new Allegheny Highland Story Fest on November 4th through 5th at the historic Masonic Theater in Clifton Forge, Virginia. And today it is my privilege to be chatting with the very talented and funny lady, Kim Wietkamp, who is one of our featured tellers at the upcoming festival. Now, I've worked with Kim in multiple festivals and workshops over the years, and I am thrilled that we were able to snag her up for our very first Allegheny Highland Story Fest. You people are in for a real treat. Kim, how you doing?
I'm great. It's good to see you, my Linda.
It's always good to see you. Do you think you could tell our audience a little bit about you and why you tell stories and how you got started?
Well, I got started telling stories as a little girl, actually, because I would always do all kinds of plays and skits, and plus after dinner, my mom and dad would take the guests into the den. I don't know if you remember, the den, the paneling on the walls matched the paneling on the station wagon.
Mm-hmm.
And they would say, Kimmy, tell that story about when we went to the beach and what happened with the luggage. And I'd tell it, and they'd laugh and say, that's not how it happened. But now tell the story. And so it really was kind of a natural progression. And so I actually used applied storytelling in work with youth, adjudicated at risk, and just, kids that came to the center. And then after doing that for about 20 years, I flipped into this and I love it. And a lot of times people think, and even with what I just said, people think that storytelling is for younger people only, kids, let's say, youth. And that's not the truth. This festival, because, you and I've talked about it, and most of the festivals that I do, shows I do at theaters, they're for adults. This is for adults. Is it safe for kids? Yes,
Yes.
but it is geared towards adults, and they're going to laugh, they're going to cry, they're going to laugh till they cry, they're going to have a great time.
And that's what I love about a festival like this is because we do have a time set aside just for a family concert on
Right.
Saturdays at noon. But the rest of the time, that's for everybody. And we want to make sure that everybody understands how important stories are in our life. Don't you agree?
Oh my gosh, stories are so important. First of all, it is spiraled into our DNA to speak in story. I have the luxury of taking stories from my life, from my childhood, and fleshing them out as a writer and then telling them on stage. Some people call it comedy, but it is not, because I'm more of a humorist, because there is death and there is love and there is loss and a lot of beauty and depth to what I do, but you will laugh because I can't help it. That's just, I mean, I have stories about very serious things, but I can't not, I just can't. It's the easiest way to make it through life is laughing. But
Well, that is part of who you are.
yeah, it
You
really is.
you are not a terribly serious person.
No, I can be. And I talk about, I tell pieces that are about, have very serious content, but it's like, you know, it's like the sweet coating on an Advil. That's what I am. The medicine is hidden. But
You take the pain away.
yeah, and that's what a lot of storytellers, that is what we do, because people identify with what we're sharing, and it allows them somewhat, even through the laughter, to become introspective, and they leave thinking about things maybe in a different way. But it is swirled into our DNA to speak in stories. I have the luxury of doing it on stage, and I'm very humbled by that. I take it seriously. But we do it every day. When you have an experience and you call and tell your sister, and then you call and tell your best friend, it's different the story you tell, because you're wanting to have a different effect. So everybody already speaks in story. At the end of the day, over the dinner table, or when you're rocking your child to sleep at night, or when you're sitting in the TV room watching TV with your spouse, telling them about the day, you're a storyteller. The only difference with me is that as a professional storyteller, I take those same stories and I write them and edit them and infuse them with humor and set them up in a way that it's entertaining and enlightening as well. So it's a it is. I am a fortunate woman that this is what I get to do. And then I actually write songs too to go with them. So
Yeah,
singer-songwriter.
I noticed that you always your stories always it seemed to have a song that goes with them. Most of the time I don't think I've ever heard you just do a song. I think they've always been connected. Is that would you say that's your story style?
It's, a style to me is something that you adopt by choice. I always, when I'm working on a story, have a song that comes up. I can't stop it. It's like a woman that's giving birth to twins. You don't go, did you choose to have twins? Or can you put one of those back? You can't. It's not possible. And as I'm working on a piece, even as I'm traveling the country and a new piece is marbling around in my head, I begin to actually hear lyrics and tones and rhythms and melodies and notes. And so almost every song comes out when I've completed the piece. It's very seldom the song comes first. I, sitting here, cannot really think of more than two out of all the songs I've written that came before the story. And so that's just a an artistic bearing of twins.
Well, that's a pretty good analogy.
I even have creative stretch marks.
So tell me, Kim, do you think that storytelling is important in our everyday lives and in business?
Oh my gosh, yeah, I have a website called profitablestory.com.
Hmm.
So I travel the country performing at festivals and theaters, but there's a whole side hustle I have, and I say hustle not because I'm hustling you, but because it keeps me hustling, and that is coaching and working with nonprofits and businesses. I mean, that is a huge part of what I do. The centerpiece of all business is persuasion, and the greatest vehicle for persuasion is story. And that's what I teach on, is the science of that, the neurological methods of that, and how persuasion in marketing, persuasion in business, persuasion in sales, persuasion with teams. We're always trying to persuade. Right now, in this very minute, my Linda, we are trying to persuade the people that are viewing this to come to the festival. I have no problem with that because I know they will leave happy. Like, everybody I've dragged to a festival because they're like, what? Storytelling, what? They leave happy and they end up going to they start looking them up. So I have no problem knowing that we're persuading right now. But in life, we have to persuade our teen to take the garbage out. We have to
Yeah.
persuade ourselves not to live in guilt. We have to persuade our spouse to hear our side of things so that we can build a bridge, or in government or politics or religion or with neighbors. And to persuade in business, whether that business is relational, next door, in home, or in a corporation, story is the absolute greatest vehicle. And that's not me saying that. That is tens of thousands of hours of research by Harvard and Berkeley and Forbes and Fortune 500 and authors of best-selling books that are just showing up everywhere. What you and I have known, because we've been doing this a long time, my Linda,
Yeah.
is really becoming quite the buzzword, and it translates into your personal relationships as well. So absolutely, story is important in a myriad of ways that we don't even have time to talk about. It is so powerful. Just look at the greatest dictators of our lives in history who have decimated cultures and dis- done horrific things because they were powerful storytellers and persuading. And so, it's my goal in life to not only do what I love, but to help people understand it so they can use it for good in their own life, and in their daily walk, in their communities, in their towns, and their states, their countries, with their children and so forth. So that's,
Yeah, I
I'll
agree
stop
with
there.
you. I agree with you wholeheartedly that story is so important. It's something we do every day. It is part of who we are, and we've been doing it since we were able to talk.
Absolutely.
I
Even
often
when
tell,
we sleep.
yep, I
Even
often
when
tell kids
Mhm.
that when they say they're not storytellers, and I often ask them, "Have you ever told a lie to your parents?" And they go, yeah. I said, you're a storyteller.
That's good. I might have to take that one. That's good.
You are welcome to it.
I like that.
I see our time has run out and I could talk to you for hours.
Yeah.
And I will at
Oh,
festival. But I
good.
want to thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to talk with me today.
Thank you, Linda.
Again, I want to encourage our audience not to miss an opportunity to see Kim Wietkamp at the Allegheny Highlands Festival on November 4th and 5th at the Historic Masonic Theater in Clifton Forge, Virginia. You can buy tickets online at the Historic Masonic Theater website, and we hope to see you soon. Bye
Yeah,
for now.
I hope so. See you there.